welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend you listen to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. I've also set up a Facebook group for us to connect and to support each other, and I'd love for you to join me over at Elements of Ayurveda podcast group. And now here's the show. Hello and welcome to Elements of Ayurveda. Today I want to introduce you to Sanya Minocha, who is the founder of Kensho Wellness. After experiencing chronic pain from a tailbone injury, she has spent the last 4 years empowering and truly healing herself. She has developed a holistic approach to achieving health and wellness by treating body, mind, and spirit as one. Feeling inspired to help others restore balance, Sanya formed Kensho to address a major problem in the world, the disconnection of body, mind, and spirit. Through integration and connection of these three elements, her clients are living a life that's truly in alignment with their deepest desires. Utilizing methods such as coaching, Ayurveda, and NLP, clients are assisted in addressing the problems that have manifested in their lives as a result of these imbalances and are guided towards holistic health and well-being. Hi, Sanya. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. And Sanya has been a client of mine. And Sanya, you contacted me back in June 2018 because you had many questions about your health, right? So can you tell us a little bit about why you reached out and what was going on with your health at that time?
Yes, absolutely. So I think meeting you, Colette, by meeting, I mean, connecting with you through Skype and online was not coincidental. I think it was amazing because in January of this year, I was in the car with my brother on a road trip with my family as well. And we were interested in learning a bit more about Ayurveda. And so we decided to type in Ayurveda into Spotify. And your podcast was what came up first. And so listening to that and hearing your voice and how clearly you explained Ayurveda and the three doshas and the different gunas and hearing about that, I really connected with something that you said. And as soon as I did, I thought to myself, hey, maybe I should go take the dosha quiz, which is also something you offer online. So I looked you up and I sort of got that ebook downloaded and I did the dosha quiz. And I think that was the start of my journey with you because I've always been intrigued by Ayurveda. There's just something about the fact that Ayurveda uses the philosophy that we are made up of the same elements that nature is made up of that seems to sit right with me, that I don't have to do much thinking about, that just feels organic. So that was sort of why I contacted you because I was very curious about it. And also I was experiencing some sort of burning sensations that were going on in my body. I didn't feel like I didn't feel rejuvenated in the body. I felt quite slow at times. And I knew that wasn't natural. I knew that wasn't the way that I was meant to be operating. So those are a few reasons that I actually contacted you.
Right. And you booked the free discovery call then after doing the dosha quiz. And we chatted for a little bit in that. And you were telling me about your health concerns. You had this tailbone injury. And that seemed to have a big knock-on effect in your health, right?
Yes. So the tailbone injury happened, over 4 years ago. And I think since then, I really started to look at my health in a different way, started to approach things more holistically. And it just made sense for Ayurveda to be the next step in my healing journey. And I think having that chat to you after that quiz that I filled in, just having that 20-minute chat and actually learning more was a really nice segue into the in-depth consultation that I had with you, because just being able to talk to you and know that it was no obligation, that I could just maybe hear a bit more about what was going on with me, based on your expertise, made me feel really comfortable. So that was a really nice way for me to go into the in-depth consultation.
Great. Yeah, I think it's important to have that, so that you're getting to know somebody, it's a relationship, and you're about to divulge a lot of private information to this person. So I think it is important to be able to ask some questions in person and meet this person, see if you resonate with each other. So then you went on to do the in-depth consultation, and we talked in depth about your lifestyle, what your stressors were, what's going on with your health, your diet, your mindfulness practices. And then I made a lot of adjustments, right? And a lot of suggestions for you to do. So how did you feel about those modifications at the time? What was your reaction post consultation?
I think during the consultation, I was very excited because it felt really thorough, that we were addressing everything. We weren't leaving anything out. And I remember our consultation ran a bit over as well, because you just did a really fantastic job of not leaving things out just because we ran out of time. You said, I want to make sure you have all the information. And we covered, what I loved about it was we covered things like skin and hair and thoughts and emotions and food and exercise and sleep and absolutely everything that I fill my day with. And just being able to know that, hey, there are some things that are in my power that I could change that may be contributing to this burning. I think that started off with me feeling quite empowered. And then after the consultation with you, I did feel a little bit overwhelmed because there was a lot of information. And I think at that point I sat down, and I think one of the things you said to me was to introduce sort of one thing every week and see how I go, and really just do bits and pieces at a time. And before I knew it, I was doing everything, but it didn't feel that much. It was just at the beginning that it felt like, wow, okay, there's a lot of things for me to do here. I sort of picked the top 2-3 things, saw the difference it made. That gave me a lot of motivation to keep going. And then I think the great thing was you kept checking in with me. So it was like, how is it going? What have you implemented so far? What more do you need to do? So that way I didn't feel alone within the journey. Right.
Because it can be a lot of information in the consultation, and it can feel, yes, I agree. Sometimes it can feel quite overwhelming if there's a lot of changes to be made. And I remember in our consultation, we also spoke a lot about, your where you were living, because right now you're in Melbourne, right? Melbourne, Australia, and you had moved, hadn't you, in the previous years?
Yeah, I'd moved from New Zealand. Yeah.
Right. So even those things also affect your health. And so I think it's really important to even look at those in a consultation. I know we've talked about that a lot. So how did you feel then post-consultation? How did you feel physically, first of all? Let's start with that, after implementing some of these changes.
I felt like, why haven't I been doing this all my life?
Right. I remember you saying that to me. Yeah.
Yeah, with some of the stuff, just forming the morning routine, which, I still follow, and I feel very incomplete if I don't. I just thought to myself, I wish I knew this at an earlier time. I wish I could have, the knowledge was out there, and also there was a tailored solution to people's problems from the get-go, rather than, just going to a GP or doctor, another kind of doctor where they just try and give you a more generic solution, because they're not working with you specifically. They're working with your illness or your ailment, or they're working with the symptom. They're not working with the human being under the symptom.
Right.
And so I felt like this was very much about me, and it was about what works for me. And it gave me a chance to really get to know myself and get to know what my quirks are and what my habits are and what my coping strategies are. So in terms of the food that I was eating, there was some emotional eating happening there. So it was really interesting to find that out. But physically, I think I started to feel a lot more clearer, just implementing little things into my routine.
Right. Yes. And that's it, just step by step. And then mentally, we talked a lot about meditation and breath work as well, because I felt there was an emotional component as well to that burning sensation in your body, that it wasn't only physical.
Yes, exactly. So meditation it was interesting to find out about meditation in terms of something that's tailored to my particular constitution or my dosha, and not just a generic kind of meditation. So learning more about that and learning more about the different breath works that I could do as well, something that's more cooling to my particular constitution, which is pitta, that was really helpful because I went, there's actually something that's for me. I don't have to guess anymore.
Right. Exactly. Great. And so then after the consult and we were in touch for a while, you decided to go ahead with the seasonal cleanse that happened in September. And it was just great because it was all happening. You know, you were like going deeper and deeper on your journey. So I know that you had some hesitations about doing the cleanse. Can you talk to me about those hesitations? Because I think many people have these hesitations. And so that's why I want to discuss this today. I think it would be helpful for people.
Sure. So when you told me about the cleanse and we had our consultation, it was very much a case of, yes, I think this is going to be good for me because I feel so good about how well we connected and that you were understanding me. So it felt like, yes, this is probably the next step in terms of really giving my body a restart in a way and just all my taste buds will also get a reset. So I just thought, hey, this is a really good idea. But as I got closer to the time, I had a few sort of concerns and fears kick in. The first one being, hey, am I going to be supported by the people around me? Because it's not just about me where I live, you know, it's about other people as well. So am I going to be supported and will I be able to resist the temptations perhaps, you know, that come with following a particular cleanse where, say, I go out to a dinner, so my social obligations. So would I be able to do all that? And I didn't want to do it unless I was 100% committed to it because I felt like if I started it and I did it and I didn't do it properly, I would feel worse for actually not, I would judge myself probably. So I just thought, hey, is this going to happen? And I think I emailed you about those concerns because I was very much wanting to, but there was just that little bit of fear that held me back. And just, I think you reassured me quite a lot to just say, look, you're not going to be alone during this. There's going to be other people that are going through this with you. I'm going to be with you throughout every step of the way. I have done this many times and I know it works. So it wasn't like something new. And I don't know, I think I just decided to take the plunge and just go ahead and see how it goes. And I'm so glad that I did.
Right. And so tell us now, share a little bit about your experience during the cleanse and if any of those original fears came true or how you felt throughout the cleanse.
I think I felt like finishing the cleanse, I felt so much stronger as a human being. And I actually think I increased the amount of self-love I had for myself during those 3 weeks because I showed up day after day and I followed through with what I said I would. So just the act of me following through on something that is not what everybody else is doing and it's purely for me, and cooking, you know, every couple of days and making sure that I stick to what it says. I didn't cheat even once and I was like, oh, maybe I would because I go out for dinner, but I didn't. I always took my food with me and I did make a few arrangements. So I think planning those 3 weeks really helped me to eradicate some of those fears. So talking to my partner and actually talking to my friends and saying, hey, look, guys, I'm actually going to be on a cleanse. So I might not socialize that much. Let's find other things that we can do together that don't involve food and drinks.
Great.
So it gave me a chance to get to know people on a different level where food and drinks aren't involved anymore. What do you do together?
Right.
So how do you spend your time with them? So just planning that out and then knowing that the people around me are actually going to support me and they say, don't worry, you're going to be okay. You know, we don't have to do those sort of things. So you're able to do your cleanse. I think that really helped me in the planning stages and making sure I bought all the ingredients. Having a chat with you before we had the cleanse to just go through everything was really helpful as well. And then once I started, it was like, I think the second week was really magical where there were certain foods that I had to make sure I eat. The first week was all about cutting out certain things, just weaning off them slowly.
Right.
So not just no caffeine from day one. What I loved about it was between day 1 and 7, I could take my time to reduce the amount of caffeine I have, reduce the amount of processed sugar. So that's something that I was eating quite a lot of. I could have taken that time. I wasn't chucked right to the deep end.
Right.
So that was quite like, okay, I'm preparing myself. And then once I started it, I knew I had the ingredients to make the particular recipes that were going to be there for the week. And I don't know, my mind was super clear through the time. I was someone who had to have coffee in the morning and to go to the toilet. And I was someone who just had to have caffeine in the day to run my day. And I think that completely changed, where I didn't feel that tired. I don't think I felt tired at all during the cleanse. I felt more energy than when I actually drank coffee. And I wasn't having any caffeine. So it was just really interesting to see that. And then all my times where I felt maybe a little bit like I would use food as an emotional crutch to not deal with something, I found, hey, I'm not going for that food anymore. Now I'm just sitting with what's going on. And I'm journaling about it, which I was doing before. But I think with this cleanse, I was just in a more clearer headspace than I'd ever been. And I had the opportunity to work on some stuff, and I felt more intellectual throughout the day. I didn't have to try and force myself to sit down and do things. Things were just flowing. So that was sort of quite amazing.
Yeah, that's great. And I know one of your concerns also was that you would be hungry during the cleanse because you had a strong pitta appetite. And how did you feel hunger-wise on the cleanse?
Oh, it was totally okay, because I think I underestimated how satiating the soup and the khichdi would be, and the ghee balls, and they're all very, with the ghee, I think itself is very satiating. So I think because I've never done just ghee by itself the way that I did with this food, it was, I think I was full throughout the entire time. And I knew that it wasn't about starving myself, that if I was hungry, I could just eat. It would just be the same type of foods.
Right.
But it was nice to know that I didn't have to starve myself in any way.
Yes. And that's what, when people hear cleansing or detox, that's immediately what they think is like, oh my God, I'm going to be starving. And we have so much emotion tied up with our hunger and eating. And it is a huge part of our lives, obviously. But so I'm always trying to reassure people, like, I promise you won't go starving, because I don't want you to go hungry. Once you're hungry, you eat. So that's wonderful. And then after the cleanse, you had that clarity, and you just felt you felt so good not relying on the caffeine then. Definitely it felt really good, resetting my morning routine to knowing that I don't always have to have coffee. I could just have a glass of warm water with ginger and a lemon, and it feels like that's my way of starting my day. The other thing was the burning sensations that I was feeling quite a lot in my body started to subside as well. So I think just being able to reset that pitta and balance it, it meant that the burning, I don't think I felt any burning in that time at all. And then it was interesting, once I finished the cleanse and I started to eat certain foods, some stuff I was feeling again. So it was very interesting to see how the foods are affecting me so clearly. Yes, absolutely. And going back to that burning sensation, you were feeling that, and it wasn't, when people think of burning, they may think of like heartburn or acid reflux, but more it was in your legs, right? It was in your thighs you were feeling
my
it.
Thighs. Yes, my thighs and my kind of lower back area. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And like I said earlier, I felt that had a big emotional component to it. Did you find that that you were journaling a lot? Did you find that it was an emotional detox as well as a physical one for you?
Yes, I think there was a very natural letting go happening. So not an intentional, I'm going to release and let go. It was very much a natural process of getting rid of the crap, essentially. So stuff that's built up for so long that is not serving me anymore. I just found that stuff was coming up very naturally, that I would feel, I think after the second week, there was an elimination day. And I actually just broke down and, really released a lot of the emotional baggage that I was carrying. That again, I didn't go in there to do it that way, but I think it ended up becoming as an outcome of just being in such a clear space and giving myself the intentional space to cleanse myself of all the things that aren't serving me physically and emotionally and mentally.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's it with this cleanse. It is an Ayurvedic cleanse, and it's so amazing how we use the ghee as the cleansing agent, and how it pulls the physical and emotional toxins from a cellular level. But when I say people, it's emotional cleanse, it's not traumatic. It like you said, Sanya, it comes up very naturally. You might get memories or something. It's not like everything comes up all at once and you're going to be an emotional wreck. No. It's very mild, right? And it's very gentle, and it's a nurturing cleanse. That's what I think it is. But it's also just very gently brings up these, hey, you might want to think about this, or hey, you remember that could still be in there undigested. So how about we write about this or deal with this in some way?
That's it. It's the undigested stuff. And interestingly enough, when people think emotional, people always associate negative to that, like, oh, it's going to be a negative thing. But I actually felt so happy for every single day, except for the one day that I cried, but I felt so happy after it that it was such a natural release. So when people think emotional, they think, oh, it's going to be heavy, but it's actually, happiness is also an emotion.
Yeah, so true.
I think that was something I experienced for the entire time.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, I'm great. Given given the hesitation, I know we spoke a lot about the hesitation prior to the cleanse, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. I'm so happy that you went through it, and then you had such a good experience, and you relieved yourself of that physical discomfort you had, and also like an emotional reset as well. And then post cleanse, then you decided to go on and do the 4-week daily habits for a holistic health course. And I was really excited for you to do that, because I do think, the cleanse is amazing. This Ayurvedic cleanse is so good. But a lot of times when we get back into our normal life, we tend to go back to the same old habits. And this is why I really encourage people, and why I'm introducing this Reset, Restore, Renew program now, where it incorporates this 4-week daily habits for a holistic health course, because I think it's so important to install a new operating system, almost to like bring in new habits, so you don't revert back to those old habits that got you in trouble in the first place. So can you tell me and tell the listeners about your experience on this course? It's 4 weeks, it's online, you have a short daily webinar, and at the end of each week you have an accountability questionnaire, which I love getting, because it helps it helps you to reflect on what changes you've made and how you feel, and also gives me an insight into how you're doing, and then that way I can keep track of your progress. But can you tell us a little bit about this daily habits course that you're just did recently, so it's really fresh?
So the course, what I loved about it was that it was self-paced, that I could go onto it and watch. I think some days I watched 3 webinars in a day, because there was some stuff that I found that I was familiar with. But while other days something was completely new to me, so I would sit and watch it, make some notes, maybe go and Google some of the topics on another tab and read more about it. So what I loved about it was either way I was learning something. And what I really enjoyed was that it was split up with mind, body, and soul. So the fact that it went into each of those different elements, and how Ayurveda perceives each of those elements, and how, if you experience an imbalance, what it may show up as in each of those elements, was really fantastic. I think the thing that I loved was that it really empowered me, because I was doing it myself. So one of the things that I find within, self-help is that either you can work with someone, you can read a book, you can watch a video. If you want to improve your life in some way, there's many means you can do it in. But doing it through this course was actually something quite different for me. It's a different form that I'm learning self-development through. And instead of sort of doing, say, a session with you every week or every month, I found that I had this program that I could go into, that I could learn in my own time, and that I could take notes, and I could basically reflect back at any time that I want to, and check in with you if I was unsure about something. So it made me feel empowered that I was taking charge of my own journey, that I wasn't sort of, when you're working one-on-one with someone, you're sort of working with them, but this was really working with myself throughout the course. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that is important, because a lot of times, and I spoke about this in a recent episode on the podcast, that sometimes if we're working with healers, or like you said, there's many paths we can go through in the self-development journey and the self-help journey. But that sometimes can become a crutch, and we have to be careful of that healing practice or that modality doesn't become a crutch, that it really is about just empowering what's already inside of you. And I'm really passionate about that people are empowered to take charge of their own health rather than leaning on something else.
Yeah, something else for the answers. And I think the wonderful thing about Ayurveda is that it does not make any claims about you having to go out and do something in order to achieve health and holistic wellness within you. It just tells you to basically examine yourself and look at your current habits and the way you live your life, and maybe tweak it to the life you're wanting to live. So it's very much about going inwards rather than going outside.
Exactly. And then it's tailored to you, and it's really just about really understanding yourself so that you feel so confident to make your own decisions. Yeah. So can you tell us about some of the aha moments you had? Because I know when I was reviewing your accountability questionnaires at the end of each week, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I'm delighted. I was so chuffed that it was really resonating with you. And I think in particular, the one on the mind and the mental gunas, that week particularly resonated with you, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was something I didn't know about. So I think just because I've been on this journey with you and I've done a lot of the Ayurveda stuff, I found that, okay, this is really good for me. This is repetition, so I'm able to understand it more. I'm seeing why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, for example, the oil pulling and the tongue scraping. And the first week was sort of quite, I know a lot of this because I'm living it right now.
Right.
And so it was very good reinforcing of the stuff I was already doing and really good reminders. And then the second week with going into the mind was really interesting because I had no idea that the mental gunas would have such an impact on us. And that perhaps even the thoughts that we think and the way we respond to certain things is based on imbalance. It's not just sort of random coming out of nowhere. Everything has a source.
Right.
And to feel empowered that I actually hold the key to that so I can change it the way I want to change it. So if I'm feeling lethargy or slow in myself and my thoughts, that it's clear that there's something within my mind, body, and soul that is feeling imbalance. So that was really good reinforcement and really good knowledge that I was learning. That's actually part of what I Googled as well because I was so fascinated. I wanted to read all the links I put on it and try and understand that, wow, so this is actually not random at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I wanted to delve in deeper in this course is, going through the cleanse when I'm talking to people in the 90-minute consultation. I can give little tidbits of info, but then the 4-week course goes even more in depth into, okay, now that you're cleansed, now you have more clarity in your mind and you're not, you're not taken up with your physical ailments. Now let's delve a little deeper and because, we always say Ayurveda is just layer upon layer upon layer, and you can always delve deeper into it, which is amazing. When my teachers used to say it's like an ocean. It's just like, it goes so deep, it's never ending. So I'm glad that resonated with you. Hi, so I'm jumping in here because if you're listening to my conversation here with Sanya, who's giving great detail on her experience in the Reset, Restore, Renew program, and you're like, you know what? I want to do that. Well, your opportunity is here because I'm starting the group 7-week transformational journey, January 18th, 2019. So if you want to join this group, the start of the new year, and get ready to reset your digestive health, which of course, in resetting our digestive health, resets our whole system physically and emotionally. And if you're ready to restore and rejuvenate your body and renew, bringing in a whole new operating system of healthy self-care practices to help keep you in balance and ensure that you don't go out of balance going forward, that you get the education on recognizing the subtle signals of imbalance and how to quickly bring your body back into balance using food and lifestyle and mindfulness practices. So if you really want to delve deep into your health journey and once and for all get the answers and really and truly understand your mind-body type and be able to have the information going forward to make decisions for your own health, well then please come join us. So if you want more detailed information on the Reset, Restore, Renew program starting January 18th, 2019, then please visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And on my homepage of my website, you'll see an orange Start Here button at the top right-hand corner of my website. Click on that and you'll get all the details along with a video of me explaining the course in detail. Or you can just click on the link in the show notes here to access that page. Okay, and now back to my chat with Sanya. And I know throughout this journey as well, Sanya, you've been obviously on your own healing journey, but also with your own, with your life and your career path. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about that. I know you formerly worked in marketing. Is that correct?
Yes, advertising and marketing.
Advertising, right,
Yep.
right. And so that was, well, tell us. I'll let you tell us the story about this. Along with your healing journey has come this whole life path journey too, because it's really exciting.
Yes. So 4 years ago, as I said, I was already well adjusted within an advertising job, working my way up the corporate ladder, feeling quite dissatisfied, I would say, on a day-to-day basis, because I thought to myself, there's got to be something more than this. I don't think it's just about working and, paying your bills and then getting a mortgage and then that's it, that's done.
Right,
So
right.
I knew there was something more. There was a thirst in me. I used to always ask questions such as, could this be it? Is this sort of what we're here for? It seems like a joke. This can't be it. This is not why we're here. And I wasn't feeling quite fulfilled with what I was doing. And I think, I took an accident, when I was in New York traveling. I fell down the stairs and I injured my coccyx, which is my tailbone essentially on my lower back. And that sort of really changed the course of my life because it started to, my life basically started to reveal to me all the ways that I'd been suppressing parts of myself throughout my life. And that means my emotions and maybe who I really was and maybe the person that I was yearning to be. So I think part of what I've learned was that while I was suppressing the bad, I was also suppressing the good. So I wasn't able to stand in my own power because they were sort of the same coin in two different sides. So I found that I was quite disempowered during that time after the fall. And the way the fall made me feel was a direct manifestation of the emotional ways that I felt about life anyway. So feeling like a victim, feeling like life is happening to me and not through me. And so this really started to give me this perspective that I need to start questioning things more. And I need to start looking at my life. It's more than just the physical. So once I think after about 2 years of suffering, I decided, okay, I've hit my rock bottom. There has to be something more. This cannot just be physical. There's something more that's going on here. And I think I started to read a lot of books from, Deepak Chopra, Joe Dispenza, started to listen to Wayne Dyer, and just really got inspired by all these people that have sort of walked this path. And I became more spiritual in a sense. I'd always had a connection to spirit, but I think my spiritual journey has really taken off because it was sort of an awakening that I experienced where I realized there is something more than what's going on here. And then I started to approach my entire life holistically. And I realized that my body, mind, and soul are so deeply connected and that every cell of my body can actually hear my thoughts. And that every time I have an emotion, it actually means that I have created a thought inside that is perhaps negative or based on the past that I haven't fully resolved yet. So just learning about all these things, I started to feel more empowered. And that's when I took charge of my healing journey. And I went, I'm not going to be a victim anymore. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to empower myself because I don't think this is exactly why this has happened to me. I don't believe in accidents anymore. I think that was sort of created because vibrationally I attracted that fall into my life to get me to the path that I am now. So all of that, it just sort of really changed the course of my life, as I said. And I think within that time, I was also searching for something, a career that was more fulfilling. And it just came to me that I want to help people with this. I want to give people what I didn't have at the beginning of this, and that I have learned through my own self-inquiry and study, and by speaking to so many different teachers and being inspired by so many different mentors. Now I know that I can make someone else's journey a little bit less harder by just pointing them to the right direction. So the work still has to be done by us, but if someone can sort of shine the light on the areas of you that have the answers, then you're not sort of blindly just, looking around. So I think that's what I wanted to do. And so I decided that I'm going to study coaching because I think that would segue into maybe having my own company. And then I think a year later, which was this year, just a couple of months ago, I launched Kensho Wellness.
Yeah. So before, I want to ask you lots about Kensho Wellness, but I also want to get back to what along with the coaching, you did the NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, right?
Yeah. Neuro-linguistic programming.
That's fascinating to me also. Can you tell us a little bit about NLP?
Yeah, so neuro-linguistic programming is all about the mind. It looks at, and it's really interesting because it looks at the perceptions that we have of our life. So every one of us wear a certain lens that we've been carrying with us, and that's based on our experiences. So if I had been taught from a young age that this is what the color yellow looks like, and I associate yellow with happy, I will grow up my entire life always associating yellow with the emotion of happiness. And I wouldn't think otherwise unless someone comes and questions it for me. So we wear these particular lenses that we're born with, and what NLP does is it really goes into that perception and helps you change it. So it really changes things from the core rather than sort of says to you, so if I said to you, this is the color red, and you looked at it and you said, no, actually, I see maroon, you're not wrong and I'm not right. And there's no, we can't say for sure. But if, for example, you seeing it as maroon is hurting you and you want to change that, this is when I can try and help you see it as red.
Right.
So it's really about helping people change their perspectives of how they see the world, because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Beautiful. Yeah. So it's going into those belief systems that are
belief systems. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's which are run very, very deep.
Yeah, all in the subconscious. So NLP works purely in the subconscious realm, and subconscious is 95% of what governs us as humans, and 5% of us is our conscious. So we may want something consciously. We may say to ourselves, we're going down this path and we really want this, but subconsciously, every single aspect of us may not actually want that.
Right.
So it's really important for us to get in tune with what the subconscious really wants, and really just get all parties on board.
Yeah, it is. And that's something that needs to be brought into the healing journey too. And there's many ways, right? I was trained in Theta healing, which is similar, works on the subconscious and also on that, on those, pulling those belief systems from the body. And it's fascinating, but I think it has to be brought in when you're dealing with a holistic approach to health. You can't just look at the physical, we have to look at the whole body, and especially with clients. So I talk a lot about, okay, tell me about your life and any significant, and there's always some event that comes up, or something either in my intuition comes up or in their intuition. When we're talking, there's something that comes up. It's like there's something that was triggered along the way, or some event, and I'll get a feeling and I'll keep asking, and they're almost like, why do you keep asking about this? It's because, these old belief systems or life events, sometimes we think as insignificant, or we're too young to remember the trauma around it, but it has a deep pattern belief system inside of us. So that's fascinating.
Definitely.
Thanks for sharing that.
No worries. And just to add to that, there's our cultural programming with each person that they come up with, So it really, what's great about NLP is it looks at, it refers to our neurology and also refers to our programming that we've basically grown up with. And the third part of it, linguistic, is where it talks about language. So the language that we use actually ends up creating our world. So it is all about perception and the way we create our world. So it's interesting when you have these consultations that you might have picked up on certain words that people may say that make you think, okay, there's something within this that they keep repeating. Yeah. So perhaps this is linked to an event.
Right.
Perhaps this is linked to something they haven't fully processed.
That happens a lot. And I love it because it's like investigative work. And between the two of you, you're like, wow, okay. And did I say that? And that's come up a couple of times, and let's look at that. And so it's, and it's good for a person who, has an objective counselor there with them to help them solve through these puzzles as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Kensho Wellness. I want, first of all, for you to explain what Kensho means, please.
So Kensho is awakening to the true self. It's very much in line with, I guess what I'm experiencing now and after I had the fall. So I had glimpses, I think through meditation, where I got a glimpse of my true nature, which is one of being a completely magnificent being.
Yeah.
And that was sort of something I'd never fully felt to the core. And I think that's something, it's not the act of fully being an awakened and enlightened being. It's just those little glimpses that come to you where you wake up to your true nature. The true nature could be one that you're pure love and that you're pure awareness.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And what's the origin of the word Kensho?
It's Japanese.
Beautiful. So tell us about Kensho Wellness, because it's so exciting. And, this journey that you had from that fall in New York and then on your own healing journey and searching for something else has manifested into this beautiful business. So can you tell us how you work with clients?
Sure. So when I first founded Kensho, I was very clear as to the impact that I wanted to make on this world and what my mission was. I found that by talking to a lot of people that were essentially mirrors of me, so very people that are like-minded to me, I found that the one thing that was missing was that we're not aware of the connection between our body, mind, and spirit as much as we could be.
Right.
So if we were connected or we knew about this connection, just thinking back to my own personal journey, a lot of people that are suffering, if I knew that my tailbone is actually linked to an emotional and a mental reason, that it's not just physical, I would have started to look at it more holistically from the beginning, which would have saved me a lot of effort, time, and energy, and really, really got me to resolve a lot of the pain that I was holding on to, both physically and emotionally. But so just experiencing that, I went, there is a disconnection. Everyone that I'm talking to, not many people know about this. It's sort of new knowledge to them, especially people in the older generation. If I talk to my mom or my dad about it, they're sort of like, what do you mean? It's not a clear thing that, you're experiencing, you have a cold. It actually means that you formed a cold because you're trying to protect yourself from something. Yeah. There's always a reason that you form things in your body. It's not random. So just that was sort of the start of the foundation. And then I sort of just decided that, look, how can I be there for people and give people what I didn't have? And coaching was the best modality to do it in. And just understanding that the problems that we manifest are essentially just manifested because there is an imbalance on body, mind, and spirit. So if there is an imbalance on one of those levels, we will experience, say, work issues, or we'll experience relationship issues or health issues. So any problems that we experience are all manifestations of one of these imbalances. So figuring that out, I thought, hey, this is something that I've done for myself and I'm doing for myself. How can I best offer this to people around the world? So coaching was a really good modality to do it in, as well as learning more about Ayurveda. I knew that this is a very, it's a perfect sort of holistic wellness approach that I can add to my repertoire, because I think it's going to help clients immensely to look at everything as holistically as possible.
Yeah, that's great. And so you work online with clients?
Yeah, so I'm working face-to-face and online because a lot of my clients are actually not based in Australia, which is where I'm living at the moment. So working with clients, I find I can work with them over Zoom or video conferencing, as well as face-to-face when they're in Melbourne. But it's easy to work with clients online as long as they're open to it.
Right, exactly. That's great. So when you have a client who contacts you, you're using these modalities, NLP and via coaching as well, to help them on their journey.
Yeah, so normally they'll come with a particular issue. So there'll be certain signs that I think people will experience. So for example, if they're feeling unfulfilled at work, which is another clear sign of what I felt. If they're feeling like something is missing from their relationship, if they feel like their health is suffering in some way, if they're asking the bigger questions, like what else is out there? Could this be it? So they're sort of on a whole feeling like there could be something more, there's something missing. But normally it's about a problem that has already been manifested, so something that they're struggling with on a level, but at that point, they haven't really pinned it down to whether it belongs in body, mind, or soul. They may think, I'm just experiencing problems at work, with all my relationships, but that'll become a relationship thing, which is deeply linked with your emotions. So what I help them do is once they have an idea of what they want to do and they resonate a little bit with the Kensho message, say through the website or through meeting me, I have a consultation with them. So similar to how you do it, where I have a free consultation, we have a chat and I try to understand best what exactly they're suffering from or what exactly they're facing as a problem. And through that, I'm able to see, A, am I the best person to help them along their journey to restore balance in this area? And B, really identify what level maybe this is manifested from, so that instead of us just addressing the problem, we can address the root, which is going to be based in the body, mind, and spirit. Yeah.
Great. I love it. Great. And so what does the future look like for you, Sanya, in regards to your own personal health and where would you like to see this business is starting out now? Where would you like to see it going? So let's start with your own personal health and development.
With my health and development, I would like to see myself strengthen the relationship I have with my body more and more each day and really become embodied in the physical form that I'm in. Because of the pain that I've experienced, it's very easy to sort of not be grateful for the body and just say, why are you giving me pain? Or why is this stopping me from living the way I want to live? But I think what I've learned the most is the body is always your friend and it's always a messenger, and it's sort of its last port of call when it's trying to send you a message like, hey, I've sent you a message via your mind, aka your thoughts and your emotions. You haven't listened. And I've sent this to you repeated a number of times. And because you haven't listened, I have to get your attention in some way.
Right.
And so I'm here to remind you to either pay attention to yourself, to love yourself more, to care for yourself, or to start recognizing that you are actually a divine being and you are magnificent. So if we're thinking negative thoughts about ourselves all the time, then we're not really thinking of ourselves as amazing. We're not really living within the power that we're born into. So I feel like it's always trying to guide us back home.
Beautiful. And do you feel like you have a good practice now or a good daily routine of self-care practices to keep you in balance, especially on those days when you're feeling a little bit off or you're not feeling 100%?
I definitely know what I need to do. I think I'm getting better at listening to the body, and getting better at not being afraid to try new things as well. So one of the things is, when I resolve this issue or when I do this, then I'll be happy, or then I'll go out and try new things. So really getting good at going, I can do this now and then I'll be happy, rather than sort of thinking my happiness is dependent on me actually completing something. I do the thing first.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. I love that outlook. Great. And so for Kensho Wellness, what is your objective, your dream? What do you want for the future?
With Kensho Wellness, I think my mission is just to reach as many people as possible, and to spread this awareness that our body, mind, and spirit is deeply connected. And I think by helping people, so I'm helping people one-on-one and through a group coaching setting, as well as I think I would love to be able to do more workshops and retreats in the future where I can reach as many people as possible. And I think through their own journey, people will inspire others and spread their awareness. So if someone is completely able to feel the difference within themselves, then they're able to talk to other people about. That's something you never stop talking about. You know, if you heal something or you've gotten better, that's something no one will stop talking about. And I think that's what I'd like to see, the ripple effect, so that they can spread the message that, hey, did you know that your body, mind, and spirit are deeply connected? So there's a reason that you're experiencing this, and there's ways that we can explore where this comes from and restore balance into your life.
Love it. And that's what we're all essentially doing. We've all experienced this in our own body. Direct perception is the best way to experience something, because we could talk to people until we're blue in the face. And that's why we encourage people to do these cleanses and coaching and to really get in touch with our true self, because we know, we've been there, done that. And we're like, this is why we chose this work. We want to help people on that journey too, and to help them have a smoother ride and not have to bang their heads against a wall like I did, or, go through pain like you did for several years. That, if we can get on that journey earlier, it will be a lot easier for us. So tell us, Sanya, is there any advice that you would like to give to somebody today that's out there struggling with their health or their life situation?
I think I want to leave them with a question, which I always ask myself, because I figure out after I ask this question that this is fully in my power and that I have at some level created this for myself. So what I would like you to ask yourself is, why do I need this symptom or problem in my life right now? So how is it trying to serve me or help me in any way by me having this problem? So let me give you an example. So say you have a cold that just comes up, and it's a pretty bad cold, and you're being forced to take rest and stay at home. You cannot go to work. Why do you need that cold right now? What is it helping you to do that otherwise you wouldn't do if it wasn't there? So just getting you thinking about these symptoms that pop up, or if you're having a fight with, say, a loved one or a conflict with them, why do you need that conflict? And what is it? What would you not be addressing otherwise if this conflict did not come up? So just really getting you to sort of think about those things.
Yeah, getting curious more than going into victim mode, getting really curious about it. I love it. That's great. That's great. So where can the listeners go if they want to find out more information about you? And I believe you have a special offer for the listeners today.
Yeah, so you can go onto the website, which is www.Kensho Wellness, Kensho Wellness.com. And look, just because I've got such a beautiful start to my relationship with Colette and everything she's helped me with, I'd love to be able to offer the listeners of this podcast a special gift. So all I would ask the listeners who are interested in maybe exploring if any of the problems they're facing in their life are stemming from one of these imbalances and looking at how we can restore health and heal those aspects, if you could just email me at Sanya at Kensho Wellness, which is SANYA at KENSHO Wellness.com, and just in the subject put in elements, healing and well-being, and I'll send you your free gift.
Sounds lovely. Great. Wonderful. And I'll put those links in the show notes as well. So you can check those out over there. Sanya, it's been great talking to you. It's been great getting to know you. I think your future is very bright, and I was just honored to be a small part of your journey. I think it's coming from the depth of your soul that this, this wanting to help people. And I look forward to hearing about your blossoming future with Kensho Wellness. I think you're a great asset to the healing community, and I think you're just going to do great things.
Thank you so much, Colette. That's really, really sweet of you. And I'm really honored to be able to contribute to your podcast.
Yeah, and I think people will get a lot out of this today. So thank you very much, my dear. And I'm sure we will be in touch.
Yep, sounds great.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
It was so lovely to have Sanya on the show, and so great for her to share her experience in the Reset, Restore, Renew program with you as well. So I hope that helped you and gave you some insights. And if you want to access Sanya's information, KenshoWellness.com, you'll find the link in the show notes along with the free gift, where you email Sanya at KenshoWellness.com, and in the subject line put elements, healing and well-being. So just go on over to the show notes and you will find that. Thank you so much for listening. This episode is going to air around the holidays, so I want to wish you a happy and healthy holiday season, and of course all the very best in life for 2019. If you're interested in starting out 2019 on a health note, which would be a magnificent way to start the year, then don't forget that I have the Reset, Restore, Renew group program starting on January 18th, 2019. So with the group, you get a discount on the program because we'll go through it together as a group, supporting each other and holding each other accountable. And again, all the links for that will be in the show notes. If you have questions, just like Sanya did at the start of her journey, don't hesitate to book the free discovery call with me where we can hop online and I can answer any questions that you may have. Okay, take care everyone. Again, happy holidays. Be well, be safe, and I look forward to connecting with you in 2019. All the best.